Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to get started here. All right, so welcome to the presentation today, guys, or the free class today. Today, what we're going to be covering is how to get started with crypto trading using algorithms, right? This is definitely something that we specialize in as a company. We've been doing this for quite a number of years, so we have a lot of insights to share with you today. This is going to be our agenda, right? So first things first, I want to get to know you guys a little bit. So I'm going to pose some questions to you to get to know you a little bit. We'll tell you about your instructor, which in this case is myself. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Then we'll go through an introduction, basically explaining a little bit about our company, what we do. We'll talk about why would we want to use algorithms, and then other companies that use algorithms. So giving you a little bit of background in the whole industry and how this has been going. And then we'll talk about our technology, and then we'll get into some demos. And I think you guys are going to really like these demos. It's usually the highlight of the class. And then we'll talk about the full course if you guys want to go ahead and take the full course with us, where we'll teach you really the details of how to build these types of things. All right. Cool. So first off, let's get to know you guys a little bit. So if you guys could tell me a little bit about who you are, right? So if you could type this into the chat. Basically three things. What is your occupation? Do you know how to program? Yes or no? And how long you've been programming, if so? And then how much crypto experience do you have in years, right? So how long you've been trading crypto or working in the industry or whatever else. And I'll start off with this, right? So you guys can type this in. I'll just speak it out. My occupation, I'm the CEO of Lumiwealth. That means I wear a lot of different hats, making sure that our company is going well, that we have some good instructors. I also teach a couple of our classes, and we're working on a brand new product that we're going to be releasing soon that we're very excited about, and should be out hopefully within the next few weeks. All right, so that's my occupation. I've worked in fintech and all that for quite some time, so this is definitely something that I'm very familiar with. Do I know how to program? Yes, I do. I've been programming for a little over 20 years now. I was very young when I started. I think I was like 12 years old or something when I started to learn how to code. So it's been a very long time. I almost feel like I can code better than I can speak English. And I'm a native English speaker, so I think that kind of goes to show there my proficiency in that. So I've been doing it for a long time. And then how much crypto experience do you have? So I've actually been in the crypto space for quite some time. I think I bought my first crypto back in like 2015 or something like that. I worked in the industry for a while too. I worked at a company called Voyager, which has been in the news lately. I left way before all that stuff happened. But it's kind of crazy seeing a company that we started. I was one of the early stage employees there. I think employee number 4. Saw that company go from basically nothing. We were like in a WeWork all the way to being worth $2 billion, where we're sponsoring the Dallas Mavericks and all that sort of thing, sponsoring NASCAR and all that. And we went all the way up to $2 billion and right back down again. So that was one heck of a ride. I was around for the first part of that, not so much the second part. And now obviously working on Lumiwealth. So if you guys could type these out in the chat, there's the chat there they can click on. I'm going to put these into the chat as well, just so you have them there. If you guys can write that out, as soon as you type it out, I'll kind of address what you're writing there. It'd be great to get to know you guys as well. All right. Okay, so there you go. So we got Mark. Right, so currently unemployed, no programming experience, little to no trading experience. Okay, cool. So Mark, I guess you're probably doing this because you want to help with your career. Definitely, programming is a very well-paid profession. It's not an exaggeration at all to say that programmers make over $100,000 a year. That's very standard salary, not crazy at all. It does take some work to learn, but I think once you learn the skill set, I think you'd be very pleasantly surprised with your job prospects afterwards. Andy says tech teacher and small online business owner. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. What kind of tech do you teach? This sounds very interesting. I'm learning how to code but not program. I have no crypto experience. I don't know what you mean by learning how to code but not program. I don't know what you mean by the difference there. And then no crypto experience. That's okay. You'll learn a lot about crypto throughout this class as well. And then Yolanda says, I'm a freelance data scientist who has knowledge and experience in working in various data tasks associated with asset recovery and network support. I'm an experienced programmer who knows how to code in Java, C++, Python, and R for statistical programming. Very cool. Awesome. Love programmers like yourself. If people like you do very well at our courses. Not like you have to have a programming experience, but people who do tend to do very, very well. I have just recently gained knowledge and will be certified within the following areas: blockchain technology, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. I've just started learning Forex trading and cryptocurrency trading. Also, I've been programming for going on 16 years. Very cool. Yolanda, that sounds like you have a really strong background for this. I think you'd be able to build some really cool stuff. That's awesome. Joe says local gas company, no programming experience and no crypto experience. So our courses tend to be very beginner friendly. You don't have to have some crazy amount of programming experience, although if you do, you tend to do very well, but it's not required to go through our courses. Just because you don't have the programming experience doesn't matter. And the fact that they don't have crypto trading experience either, will walk you through a lot of that as well. Then we have, so I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, Jorge or George, business owner, tutor, university student, moderate experience with Python and Java. I've been trading crypto for almost 2 years now. Awesome. Very cool. I think you do a very good job in our course as well. That's awesome. Andy says 3D design printing, robotics, coding, circuitry, and energy, learning Python coding. Very cool. Awesome. Yes, that's exactly what we go through in our courses as well. We do a lot of Python. So very cool, Andy. Thank you for elaborating on that. Then James, stay-at-home dad, no experience programming, 1.5 years in the crypto world. James, I feel like you joined the crypto space just at the nick of time. If you're in it for 1.5 years, you got pretty close to that peak crypto. Although if you've only been in the industry for 1 year, you probably haven't seen too many cycles yet. I've been through, I think it's my 3rd bear market in the crypto space. This tends to be a very good time to actually get into crypto. So it's great that you're here during this time. People that buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other types of coins around this time tend to do very, very well. The time to buy is not at the top. The time to buy is when everyone's saying it's a bad idea. Same thing goes with stocks, right? So, I feel like you joined at a funny time, but right now is probably the best time to actually build up your experience in this. So it's very cool. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, welcome, guys. It's great getting to know you. Welcome. It sounds like we have a very diverse group here. We have everything from, people that don't know how to code and don't know much about crypto to people that seem quite proficient in it. So we have a pretty wide array of people here. We try to make our courses very beginner friendly. So you don't feel like you have to be some expert programmer to join in. But if you do have that programming experience, I find that our students do extremely well and build some very, very cool stuff when they come out of it. So that's awesome. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about myself, or a little bit more about myself. So you can read a little bit about it here. But basically, I've been coding pretty much my whole life, as long as I remember. I've been coding. I don't remember a life where I didn't know how to code, to be honest with you, because my memory doesn't go that far back. But yeah, so worked in, obviously writing software for quite a long time. I went to business school, did my master's in finance. After that, started a tech company with some friends. We ended up selling it for an amount I'm not legally allowed to discuss, but something that made me quite happy, and took some time off from work for a little bit. During that time, I decided to move to New York City, where I worked in a lot of different Wall Street type companies, everything from very large mortgage companies where I helped them build kind of their new age tech platforms. Some of the technology we built there has probably processed like $30-40 billion worth of mortgages, right? Then I worked at Voyager, as I mentioned, which when I joined the company was very, very small. I was like employee number 4. Nothing really existed. I basically built the first version of the iPhone app before we got a much better iPhone programmer on board. So helped create that company. That company ended up being worth like $2 billion. sponsored the Dallas Mavericks. You might have seen the logo on the Dallas Mavericks jerseys at some point if you like to watch basketball. We also sponsored NASCAR and some other things. I left a little bit before that in the company. More recently, it's been kind of involved in some not so good crypto stuff. So they went all the way to $2 billion and have come right back down again. But definitely a wild ride. Made me some good money in their stock at least, so I'm happy. And then since leaving that company, I've been working here at Lumiwealth. We started this business about 3 years ago, where we basically teach people how to build software around the finance industry. So everything from building algorithms like a trade, like this course here, that can trade crypto back and forth or trade stocks or options, right, automatically. We also have classes on blockchain programming, Solidity, all that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of things along the fintech space. We've been growing this business, doing some really cool stuff. Lately, it's like every year things get progressively quite a bit crazier in the business. We spent a lot of time teaching. We're also now starting to do a lot of different types of work. We actually are probably going to be providing technology to some banks to help them with their trading. So definitely some really cool things that we've been working on lately. So a little introduction. So I kind of mentioned a little bit about what Lumiwealth is, but our mission is really to help people such as yourselves basically get better investment returns. How do we get you to make more money? How do we get you to be more successful in terms of your investments? That's what we're all about here at Lumiwealth. I used to work on Wall Street back in the day. It really irritated me how people on Wall Street, they had these crazy investments that could make them 100% a year. No one else in the world really has access to these types of investments. Having a lot of money really does help with getting some good investment opportunities. I thought that was BS. I didn't like that sort of thing. So I really set out to build this company to find ways that we could help the everyday person have much better investment returns in the same types of ways that these billionaires and things like that do. And I think the best way to do that is through technology, right? Building smart algorithms that help you make good investment decisions, building things around the blockchain where we can do different types of securities and different types of investments. I think there's a lot of opportunity using technology to help people invest better and have much better investment returns. All right, so that's what we're all about at Lumiwealth, basically helping people have better investment returns using software. You guys might want to follow us on YouTube. I'm going to share the YouTube link into the chat so you guys can take this. But here's our YouTube channel. We have a lot of free stuff on here. So if you want to basically check out a lot of different things, you can see some of our strategies here. We have a few demos of our strategies. We have recordings of a lot of our free live classes from the past. We have interviews that we've had with CEOs. This one, for example, is John Ewing, for example, manages a $600 million hedge fund in Toronto. Very interesting conversation. Another one here with Uzair, who created a company in the blockchain space. They basically run a decentralized exchange. So a lot of really good interviews there. And then if you're interested in watching some testimonials with some past students, we also have those in here as well if you want to watch those. All right, and a lot of other cool stuff that comes up here. We do a lot of live streaming and put up a lot of videos in here. So I strongly suggest for you guys to subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified when things come out. And I guarantee you that you will appreciate some of the stuff that comes out of there. All right, so that's our YouTube. Definitely check out YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. There's also our Discord channel. This one is basically like a chat room. This is our Discord right here. It's really cool. We have a lot of people in this Discord. Let's call it Discord server, where we have a bunch of channels in there. We have lots of good discussions, everything around crypto, right? Our crypto channel is usually very busy. Everyone talking about the latest things in crypto. We have our alumni that come in here. So you can kind of get to know some of our past students and what they've been up to. Lots of really good discussions here around investments and things like that. Lots of really smart bot building people in there. And then if you guys join our community, if you become a customer, then you could join also our discussion hour, which happens to be going on right now. There's 2 people in there, as you can tell. And this is where people join in once a week and kind of discuss over voice right? So you can listen to people and actually discuss things through like a voice type chat, and just listen to what everyone's been up to lately, and maybe get some good trading ideas and things like that too. So we have a very vibrant community. Make sure that you join our Discord. It is definitely a really cool thing to join and get to know more about the industry and more about our existing students and other people in the community as well. And then lastly, I also want to mention, please ask questions throughout the presentation. So this is a lot more interesting when it's interactive, right? We do these things live on purpose, right? There's a reason why I'm doing this live as opposed to just recording it and sending it out. And a big reason for that is because you guys have questions I can answer. So it's much more interesting when this is interactive. So don't feel like you have to wait until the end to ask the questions. Just type it to chat. I'll read them as we go. And it's much more fun when we have that kind of an interactive presentation. Right? So please don't leave them until the end. Okay, cool. So let's jump into it. So let's talk about why would we want to use algorithms to trade crypto, right? So there's a bunch of reasons, but these are probably some of the most cited, right? This is the top 4, right? This is by all means not the exhaustive list, right? So first of all, crypto is a 24/7 market, right? Which means that if you're trying to trade crypto, it's kind of hard to sleep. You know what I mean? So say you're trading it based on some formula that you have or whatever strategy you're using, you probably would have to sell your Bitcoin or something before you go to bed, especially if you're in some sort of leveraged position, right? So if you're a human being, you need to sleep, right? But if you're a bot, if you're a trading robot, you do not need to sleep, right? You can have this thing running for you all night, 24/7, right? And basically placing trades for you, making you money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without having to worry about this stuff, right? This machine doesn't get tired, it doesn't sleep, right? So you could be making money even if you're asleep, even if you're at dinner or whatever else, right? Vacations, right? If you're having a long weekend, you can do that and just let your bot make you the profit over the weekend, right? So that's one thing. Crypto is 24/7, so it's kind of hard to trade without that. Second of all, there's thousands of different assets. It's really hard to keep track of all this stuff. For those of you that are new to crypto, you might not notice this, but for those of you that have been in this for a while, you know that there's so many different things out there. There's constantly some new coin. There's always something new happening. It's really hard to stay on top of that, right? And especially when some of these new coins, they come out, they make quite a bit of money, right? If you could build some sort of algorithms that can actually track these new coins, figure out, we could talk a little bit about how to build that sort of thing using token sniffer, and there's some methodologies they could use. But investing at these small coins can be quite profitable. You can make a lot of money doing that stuff, but it is hard to pay attention to as a human being, right? So machines can do that a lot better. They can be paying attention to thousands of coins constantly. What are they all doing? Is there any news that came out? Is there some big activity going on somewhere? We can get notified. We get traded automatically, and it is much more realistic to do that than you personally going into each coin one at a time and reading about it. It's going to be pretty much impossible for you to do that as a human being, right? So second of all, third of all, there's also hundreds of exchanges, right? There's a lot of things that you could do between exchanges, right? So there are price discrepancies. So for example, if you want to do like arbitrage trading, you can actually make quite a bit of money by selling stuff on one exchange and buying on another, taking advantage of price discrepancies. But then there's also different types of coins and different types of things happening on each one of these exchanges, which again, if you have a robot, makes it a lot easier for you to keep track of and profit from, right? And then fourth of all, trends can also change very fast in the crypto space. Again, for those of you who have been around this for a while, you know just what I mean. It's crazy how crypto can spin on a dime. For example, when the Russian invasion happened to Ukraine, there was a massive move in the crypto markets. I don't know if you guys were watching that day, but I saw Bitcoin fall something like 20% in the matter of 4 hours, which name another asset that moves that quickly, right? There aren't many. So when trends change that quickly, right? You can actually take advantage of that, right? Like if you see Bitcoin falling like crazy, it makes sense to maybe exit and re-enter back into the position after things have stabilized. When you see some news like that come out, it's pretty easy to trade that sort of thing. right? Using like a mean reversion strategy, which I'll show you today. That's a great way to make money off something like this. Bitcoin falls, we buy it at the bottom. We probably profit quite a bit off of that, right? But then, what if this type of thing happens when you're like asleep or you're out to dinner or something, right? You probably want to know what's going on. It's not really a pleasant feeling when you go to bed and you wake up and you lost 20% of your money, right? That is not a fun thing to do, not a fun experience. So using algorithms can definitely get around that. You might not be able to pay attention to the markets 24/7. You need to eat, you need to do work, you need to go to sleep or whatever. Bots don't do that. They can constantly be paying attention. So when there is this big move, we can actually either A, make sure that we don't lose money off it, or B, actively try to make a profit from these changes and trends. Volatility is your friend when you're using algorithms. We can make quite a bit of money off these ups and downs. All right, and I'll show you a couple examples of that in a bit. Okay, so that's why we want to use algorithms. Top 4, right? But there's definitely a lot more reasons for that. I'm sure you guys can think of it. Using robots to trade things smarter, faster, doesn't sleep, right? Can pay attention to a lot more things at a time. There's different types of strategies they could run with algorithms than you can as a person, right? But that's in theory, right? Okay, so in theory, these are different things that it's good at, right? And I could try to explain this till I'm blue in the face, but I think it's much more interesting to look at some companies that are actively doing this and how have they fared, right? So there's a lot of companies that make money off of using trading algorithms, right? Some of them, these are some of the bigger ones, right? But there's quite a few other ones, right? These are all highly, highly successful hedge funds. They've all made a ton of money using data to either inform their decisions or to directly trade using data, right? So we'll start off with probably one of the biggest ones and one of the most successful. That's Renaissance Technologies. These guys, last time I checked, had 110 billion in assets. There's probably quite a bit more at this point. I checked this like 2 years ago, and these guys are growing like crazy fast. They actually they shut down their main hedge fund and only made it open to employees because it was growing so quickly that they had so much money inside of it that if they had outside investors, they wouldn't be able to make as much of a profit. So they actually got rid of outside investors and only use it to invest their own money at this point. So very interesting how that kind of shook out. But these guys, they make since they started the fund, which is probably like in the 80s, I think, 80s or 90s, they've been making about 39% average annual return. That's for 30 years in a row. Okay. For those of you that don't have a finance background, this is an astronomically high number, right? This will make you one of the richest people on earth if you could actually pull this off, right? I know some people that join the crypto markets, they see, oh yeah, Dogecoin is up 1,000%. Sure, maybe you can hit that once in your lifetime, right? But it's very unlikely for you to consistently be able to make 1,000% a year. Anyone who's trying to sell you 1,000% a year is trying to steal money from you. They're either lying to you or they're trying to rob you, right? 1,000% a year is not humanly possible. If you actually just do the math, if you actually take out a calculator and take $1 and did 1,000% return per year, after something like 10 years, you would be a trillionaire. Why the heck are these people that are offering you 1,000% a year? Why are they not trillionaires? You might want to ask yourself that question, right? Because it's not possible, right? There's no human being on earth that has ever accomplished 1,000% a year for longer than 1 or 2 years in a row, right? In fact, a lot of those people that make 1,000% 1 year will tend to blow up their entire portfolio the next year, right? So when we're doing investing, we're doing things that are sustainable, that are going to make us money in the long run, that are not going to lose you money at any point in time, right? So, or is less likely to lose you money, right? We're not doing crazy things that are like you either 5x your money or you lose your house, right? We're not about doing stuff like that. We're more about doing things that are consistent and will make you profit in the long run, right? So Renaissance is exactly one of those companies, right? So 39% a year on average, right? They have much better years and they've had worse years. I think they've only lost money once in their entire existence over 30 to 40 years, 1 quarter ever that they've lost money. And think about that. Tech bubble happened, right? There's a 1987 flash crash. There was a 2008 massive crash. There's a 2020 crash. They went through all of that and only lost money once in one quarter ever, right? It's an incredibly impressive track record. And let's talk about what that 39% really means, right? So the thing is that compound interest is quite a powerful force, right? Actually, Einstein said compound interest is the most powerful force on earth, right? And this is why, right? So let's say you had $1,000, right? You're saving for your retirement. You put $1,000 away and you just waited 30 years, okay? In the stock market, if you're making 10% a year, that $1,000 would have turned to $17,000 after 30 years. It's a pretty good return, right? This is why people tell you to invest in the stock market, right? It's a good idea. You tend to make good money, right? Especially in the long run, right? In the short run, you might have a crash or something, but in the long run, you'll end up making quite a bit of money in the stock market, right? So 1,000 to 17,000, that's pretty good. Okay, that's that 10% return. That's the stock market in general. If you instead invest into Renaissance Technologies, you put that same $1,000, instead of 17,000 after 30 years, you'd have 19.5 million. Okay, that's how big of a difference 40% is from 10%. Okay, this is compound interest, right? So you're not getting 4 times the amount of money, right? You're getting 4 times the amount of money every year for 30 years straight, right? Which means that, for example, that $1,000 with the stock market, first year you have 1,100, right? The next year after that, you'll have 1,210. Next year after that, you have 1,330, 331, I think, actually. And it compounds like that, right? So your money makes you more money every year, right? Whereas this one, with Renaissance Technologies, the 40% a year, 39% a year, you're going to have $1,000, then you're going to have 1,400, and then you're going to have whatever 40% of 1,400 is, you're going to have 2,100. So it starts to grow really, really quickly because of the compounding, right? So making 39% a year is an extremely good type of return in the long run. I'm not talking about 1 year, right? I'm talking about over the entirety of your investments, right? I don't know about you, but I'd rather be the one that has the 19.5 million in my account rather than the 17,000, right? You'd be faring much better. And these guys, they have a really good book that they wrote about the guy that founded this. I'm going to put this link into the chat here so you guys can check out this book. It's a fascinating book. It's about the guy that started Renaissance Technologies. His name is Jim Simmons. And they basically started like the 80s, 90s. Back then, it was really hard to make these types of trading algorithms because computers kind of sucked back then. But these days, it's much, much easier. For them, it took them almost a year to kind of get their first algorithms to start to make money. And it was maybe a year or 2 years before they actually started to become profitable, right? So it took them a little bit of time. We can get you there much faster, given the fact that we have much better computers now. We have open source technology. We have a lot of tech that we've developed that we can give to you. So it's much easier for you to get to that same point that took them years to do. Could take you only a few weeks or a few months, depending on kind of your background. But anyways, fascinating book, really, really interesting. I strongly suggest that you guys read this if you're into algorithmic trading. It's just crazy how much money these guys are making. This guy, Jim Simmons, the guy that started Renaissance, he's one of the richest people on earth right now. I think he's worth like $20 billion or something like that. Like he's like quiet rich, you know, he's like one of those people that's not in the news like Elon Musk, but he is like not that far away from the wealth of Elon Musk. These guys, when they started this fund, they're just making crazy amounts of money. Everyone that was at this hedge fund became absolutely extraordinarily rich, to the point that they're buying like mansions, like $20 million mansions, and like forgetting that they even existed, right? There's an interesting story in here where basically one of the employees, he bought this mansion, like 20 million bucks or something, some lake somewhere. And he forgot it even existed until the government came after him and said, hey, you can't have a house here. It's built in some illegal spot. He forgot that the house even existed, right? That's how much money these guys are making. It's absolutely astounding what these guys are able to pull off with this hedge fund. So making that 39% a year, very impressive. You can get extremely, extremely rich doing that sort of thing, right? And that's kind of what we aim to do. We aim to have this consistent return where we're going to be making good money year on year. And also keep in mind, by the way, that the 39%, this is them managing $100 billion, right? It gets harder when you have more money. It's actually a lot easier to make good returns with less money. right? So if you have, a couple $1,000, it's much easier for you to build algorithms that can be profitable rather than if you have $100 billion, because if you go and you buy one stock, all of a sudden that stock shoots through the roof and you don't benefit from it anymore, right? So we actually have it a little bit easier than what they're doing. It's much harder what they're trying to do, right? So that's Renaissance. That's one company. They've done quite well for themselves, but they're not the only ones. And you guys can read up on these if you want. I'm sure you can find their CEOs on YouTube or read about them on the internet. Although they are very secretive companies. Hedge funds are like notoriously really, really, really secretive. I think Renaissance actually, if you work at Renaissance, you're not even allowed to put on LinkedIn that you work there, right? It's super, super secretive. But you can still read quite a bit about them because they are large companies. But Two Sigma is another one that's also doing very well. I got a chance to get to know some of the people from Two Sigma when I lived in New York. Very smart people. They've been making incredible returns year on year. Very high Sharpe ratios, very high investment returns from these guys as well. And by the way, these guys are all making their money using trading algorithms, right? So Renaissance Technologies, human beings don't buy anything, right? It's literally they just write software code that automatically buys and sells stuff for them. And they're making money doing all sorts of different types of things. There's a lot of different types of algorithms they can make money in the stock market and other markets, right? So Two Sigma's doing the same thing. They have a bunch of computer programmers and they basically just build lots of algorithms. And that is what is actually doing their investments for them. These guys manage about $60 billion last time I checked, probably a lot higher than that now as well. Citadel is another one. Citadel is a huge company, one of the biggest asset managers on the planet, actually. Their hedge fund is what I'm talking about here, although they do a lot of other things too. They're like the back end of Robinhood as well. They do like market making for Robinhood, which is using software algorithms. But they also have a hedge fund, same sort of thing. They use a lot of software to do this stuff. Last time I checked, they're managing 32 billion, probably a lot more than that as well. Then there's Bridgewater. Ray Dalio's been in the news a lot lately, so you may know who Ray Dalio is, one of the most successful hedge fund managers of all time. I think they're the biggest hedge fund in the world, actually, at 138 billion in assets. Really smart guy. These guys, they don't use algorithms to actually trade, but what they do is they actually get a lot of data. So they have a lot of data scientists on their team that's downloading data from all over the world, looking at satellite data, looking at correlations between things and different countries and how they're doing with their GDP and all that sort of stuff. They have a lot of these data scientists that go in and figure out how to invest. They have a human being at the end of the day that pushes the button, but a lot of this is still powered by algorithms and data science, right? In fact, actually, most hedge funds these days are pretty data science heavy, right? So we cover a lot of data science in this class as well. And then there's also another company called D.E. Shaw. And let me know if you guys know, there's a famous person that used to work here. Let me know if you know who that is, right? And I'll give you guys a second to think about it. Try not to Google it. I'll tell you in a second anyways. But D.E. Shaw is, so feel free to type that out. I'll keep talking while you guys, if you guys know, you can type it into the chat. But D.E. Shaw is another one of these asset managers. They have a lot of data scientists, a lot of computer programmers working for them, and basically making these investment decisions on their behalf, right? So they're using a lot of computers to basically influence their decision-making and place trades for them, right? And back in the day, the person who used to work here, celebrity figure, I'm sure you guys know who this is Jeff Bezos, right? He used to work at D.E. Shaw back in the day. I think when he was in his 20s, that was one of his first jobs on Wall Street. You may have heard how he worked on Wall Street before he started Amazon. This was the company that he worked at, is a quantitative hedge fund that does exactly what we do here. And basically he was there helping, build out software for this hedge fund, right? And when he was there, he was going through a lot of data and found that the internet was growing at this crazy fast rate. It was something like 3,000% a year growth rate for the internet. And he's like, wow, if this keeps up, then the internet is going to be huge and it's going to be worth a lot of money. So he came up with the idea to start an online store on the internet. And the rest is basically history. He quit D.E. Shaw, started Amazon, and now is one of the richest people on earth, right? So all this is to say, If you're, in this space, if you're working on these algorithms and you're building technology around this, you're in very good company. There's some very, very rich people that have done this. You'll be definitely in the footsteps of giants. Everything from the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, used to work in this industry, to people like Jim Simmons of Renaissance, who's one of the richest people on earth, multi-billionaire. Same thing with Ray Dalio. If you're in this space, you're with some very good company and some very rich people. So definitely on the right path there. All right. So that's why we care about this stuff, right? We care about building algorithms because of the different reasons that we can actually enumerate normally, right? But it also, we have a lot of companies that have trailblazers for us already and have been very successful already. So we're definitely standing on the shoulders of giants and going down a path that can be quite lucrative. All right, cool. So that's a little bit about algo trading and a little bit of the history. We also have a lot of technology around the space. We have our library Lumiwealth. For those of you that are coders, you can take a look at our open source library. So you do know, so we do know what we're talking about. You could look at our documentation here. I'll put that into the chat. If you guys are programmers, you could actually go through and read our documentation on our open source library. That helps you do everything from back testing to trading for a bunch of different brokerages. We're constantly developing this thing. I don't think it's a stretch to say that we now have one of the best libraries in the world to do this sort of thing. So when you join us and when you join our courses, you get access to this. We teach you how to use this, and we're constantly developing this to help you out. Pretty soon, we're also going to have this library allow you to put onto our website that we're launching soon. So if you actually take our courses, learn how to build these algorithms, you can not only make money by trading your own cash and investing your own money and making your returns, but then also we're going to have a platform where you'll be able to take your algorithms, put them on our platform, and we'll pay you a commission when other people use your algorithm. Right? So we're building some really cool technology going forward. So if you want to read a little bit about kind of our tech, you can do so here and see some of the things that we've built. All right, cool. So that's our library. Some bullet points on it. We could trade with a bunch of different crypto brokers: Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, Alpaca. Interactive brokers also on there. And we're going to be adding a lot more coming soon. We're planning on adding in TD Ameritrade sometime soon. We're probably going to add in a few more crypto brokers and a bunch of other things too. Using Lumiwealth, you could trade 24/7, right? You have trading intervals as low as 1 second. Right. Although we could probably speed that up even more so. If you guys want to work less than 1 second, we could do that too. Although I don't know many algorithms that need that sort of speed, which is why we've kept at 1 second. You could trade multiple strategies at the same time. You could get historical data. We have a wide range of different coins and markets that you can trade. And we really strive to make this as easy as possible for you to get started and get using. Right. So that's our library. Cool. All right, so that's our technology. Let's show you a demo, right? Let's show you guys some of these strategies in action, right? So I'm going to show you 4 different strategies today, right? We have a lot more than this. If you sign up to our classes, we have quite a few. Actually, even part of our class, what we've been doing lately has been like a pair programming type thing, where we go through a class and the students, yourself, if you sign up, you can say, hey, I want to build this type of algorithm or this kind, and I'll sit there and I'll actually code it out and we kind of build it together. So we actually have built quite a few algorithms through that. But also, if there's something you're interested in, we can actually develop that during the class as well, right? But I'm going to demo for you 4 different strategies right now: the custom ETF, mean reversion, momentum, and social media trading. Okay. So let's start off with the first one, right? So our custom ETF strategy, that is this strategy here. This is the code for it, right? So if you were to take our courses, we'll show you exactly what this code means and how to use it, right? But here, what I can do is I can tell you that, and actually I'm going to run this right now. I'm going to run a back test while we're speaking. So what this strategy does is pretty simple, right? And you can customize this to whatever you'd want. It's simple but very effective. Basically, it invests in 3 different assets: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. We could change these if we wanted to. It's very easy. These are 32%, 32%, 32%. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, we could change those pretty easily. Just change these numbers or change these symbols, right? But basically what it does is it invests in these 3 coins and will automatically rebalance on a regular basis, right? So what that means is that we'll have a third, a third, a third in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. And then if Bitcoin does very well, for example, we'll sell a bit of Bitcoin and we'll buy the one that's not doing as well. So kind of like Litecoin or something like that. So we're typically, what we're doing is we're buying low, selling high, buying low, selling high. So we're constantly getting really good deals on our assets. And we're also diversifying because we're not only in one asset at a time. So let me show you the results. So what I did was I ran a back test, which means that I simulated what this strategy would have been like if you had invested in it since January 15th. So basically the beginning of 2021, what would have happened if you invested in this strategy versus Bitcoin, right? So in the blue is our strategy, right? You can see we're placing trades in kind of a unique way here, right? And then in the yellow, we see Bitcoin, right? So you could tell that we definitely beat Bitcoin by a very healthy margin, right? So Bitcoin was down here. When it ended, we're up here. Basically, we made 75% return on our strategy overall versus Bitcoin, which only did 25%, right? On an annualized basis, that means Bitcoin was doing about 27% a year. We did about 80% a year, right? So we got almost triple the returns of Bitcoin. So doing quite a bit better than Bitcoin, right? We also got a much better Sharpe ratio, 0.92 versus 0.58, which is, for those of you who don't know, this is a measure of risk to return, right? So the higher your Sharpe ratio, the better you're doing, but also you're doing better, not just from an absolute perspective in terms of I got a higher return, but also I'm doing better relative to the risk that I'm taking, right? So what risk did you take, right? So here you can see our max drawdown is one measure of risk. Max drawdown is basically from the top to the bottom, right? So this would be here for Bitcoin. We went from here down all the way to the bottom. That's a max drawdown. That's the biggest loss that we had for Bitcoin. That was 53%. Ours did only 48% loss, right? And it's probably this one right here, all right? So we lost less money than Bitcoin. So we're more stable than Bitcoin. We had less of a max drawdown, right? So less probability of us losing a ton of money. And we also tripled the returns. So we had lower risk and higher returns, both. Amazing, right? Another measure of risk is volatility. That's basically how much this moves up and down, right? Max drawdown is going to be very relevant to you because it's, what is the worst case scenario, right? But volatility is also important because it's how much it fluctuates day by day, right? So if you want to put your money into something safe because you're trying to buy a house or something, volatility is going to be very important to you as a risk measure, right? And we're pretty much in line with the volatility for Bitcoin, right? So we're a little better in terms of max drawdown. We're about equal in terms of volatility, maybe a little bit more risky, but our returns are almost triple that of Bitcoin. So quite a nice improvement there from this strategy. You could even go down here. We can see all the little details here. Volatility matched. We beat it in terms of volatility even. We can go through all the different ratios here. There's lots of stuff that gets printed out. By the way, when you take our courses, you'll learn exactly how to make things like this for your own algorithm. We teach you a lot about how to do this sort of thing, right? And then you can look at our max drawdowns. You can look at the best and worst months. You can go through all that sort of stuff here, right? Okay, we also have another graph that prints out whenever you do a back test. This is our technology that enables this, right? And this shows us all of our trades. This is what we bought in each scenario here, right? All the different purchases and sales. Right? Okay, so we have a question here. So is this course available in JVM-based programming languages such as Java, Kotlin, Ruby, Scala, Clojure, etc.? No, we do not do this on the JVM. We use Python exclusively. The reason why we do this is because Python is very good with data science. They have a lot of very good libraries around finance, connecting to brokers and all that sort of thing. That is not so much available on on Java. I understand that you could probably do some very good big data type of stuff using Scala or something like that. So there's definitely an advantage there. I think if you want to use Java in tandem with building bots, what I would suggest is that you'd build the core bot inside of Python, have Python actually do the trades and a lot of the data analysis. And then some of this like big data heavy lifting type stuff, you can turn that into an API that basically connects to your bot, right? I think that would be the best way to do this, just because the technology for building bots is not really there in Java. They don't have a lot of libraries for this. They don't have a lot of connections to brokerages. They're missing a lot of these things for bot building. So I think if you want to build this kind of big data type stuff, I would build that in Java, right? Have an API to it that connects to your bot, and your bot can basically interact with that to do this kind of like big data type of analysis, right? It's a great question. I could tell that you definitely have some experience in this, so that's great. Thank you for that question. Okay, so this is one algorithm, right? So that's our custom ETF strategy. You could tell it is quite a good strategy. It's simple but very effective, right? And I hope also you're seeing here the power of back testing, right? Being able to back test this type of stuff is quite valuable, because we know how this would have performed in the past, right? If we had invested in this strategy since the beginning of 2021, this is how we would have done, right? So another question here. So what about JavaScript or TypeScript? Same thing. We build all our bots in Python. There's definitely more crypto type bots inside of JavaScript. There's definitely a community around that. However, I still recommend using Python because it allows you to do a lot more data science type stuff. And there's a lot of libraries around this as well to trade using Python. JavaScript can be good. It's just not what we do, right? And again, if you want to use JavaScript in tandem with Python, you could match the two together. But we don't teach how to use JavaScript in our courses, right? And again, I think Python is one of the best languages to use for this because of its ability to work with data science, ability to do things in machine learning. All the libraries that are available. Python is a very, very good choice for building algorithms. Although I must admit that JavaScript is definitely starting to come up, at least in terms of building bots for the crypto space, right? We just don't happen to do that. Right? So thank you for that question. Cool. So Andy says, Andy has a question. So how proficient do you need to be in Python to do this? So to be honest with you, Python is not really the hardest part of this, right? I think coming up with the strategies is more difficult than writing the Python code. You don't need to be that good at Python, right? This is a very specific thing to learn how to do. You don't need to know everything in existence in Python. You don't need to know like all the crazy stuff that you can do with it. You really only need to know like a small sliver to be able to build these types of bots. So you don't need to be that good at Python, right? You need to know the basics. You need to know how to work with our technology, work with Lumibot, right? But you do not need to know you don't need to be this superstar programmer to be able to do all this kind of stuff. Although if you do have that background, you could probably do some pretty cool stuff, right? Like for example, the question here about Scala and all that, you could probably do some really cool big data stuff. If you were to know those types of programming languages, you could probably build some really, really advanced bots. But to build typical bots, you don't need to be that proficient. Right. Okay. No problem, Andy. Thank you. Cool. Okay. All right. So let's talk about another strategy. All right. So let's talk about the mean reversion strategy, right? We call it reversion to the mean. Okay. This strategy basically uses technical analysis, right? For those of you that have been trading for some time, you've probably heard about different types of technical analysis indicators, right? In this case, we're using RSI and Bollinger Bands, right? So RSI is, in other words, relative strength index, is basically a number that you get when you analyze a stock or crypto or anything else for that matter. It's an algorithm, right? We could look it up. I don't think it's that necessary right now, but basically it's an algorithm that gets you a number. Usually a number over 66 means that things are probably overbought, right? So the market or Bitcoin or whatever is probably overheating, right? If it's a number over 66, that's typically what RSI will say. Although it could be interpreted in different ways, that's typically what people interpret it as. And a value below 33 means typically that things are oversold and might be a good buying opportunity, right? So high RSI, probably a good time to sell. Low RSI, probably a good time to buy. And then Bollinger Bands, and this I'd probably have to show you a picture of. Right? It's a little easier when you see a picture. Bollinger Bands are another type of technical indicator. So here's kind of what it looks like. Yeah. So here is Bollinger Band, right? The stock or whatever thing that you're trading is in the middle here, right? Then we'll run a basically a moving average through the stock price, right? This is that orange line. And then we have usually two standard deviations out. We have our upper Bollinger Band, and then we have our lower Bollinger Band at the bottom. So you see it kind of builds this little, range that we would expect the stock or whatever to trade in, right? Or Bitcoin or crypto or whatever, right? So now you can see that for the most part, the stock is, or the crypto is within the space, right? But every once in a while it pops out, right? Like over here, there's a little bit of a jump out, right? Above our upper Bollinger Band. Over here, we have a bit of a drop below, right? Over here, drop below a little bit, right? So basically what our algorithm is doing is it's looking at these two indicators. It's looking at RSI. What is the level of RSI? If it's over 75, and we confirm it with our Bollinger Bands, if RSI is over 75 and we get something like this where it sticks out, that is a sell signal, right? We're going to sell Bitcoin at that point. Okay? If the opposite happens, if it goes below the bottom Bollinger Band and our RSI is lower than 25, so confirmation between those two indicators, if that happens, then we will buy Bitcoin and we'll hold it for a bit until we get the next signal, right? So we're constantly doing this buying and selling throughout the day, right? Basically taking advantages of price swings, right? So this is kind of to say, if, typically an asset will move in a specific direction, right? Either up or down. If it's deviating from that direction, that's when we either buy or sell. So we're making money off those deviations from the mean, right? So this one, I'm not going to back test for you live because it's going to take too long. It would take like a good 3 hours to back test it. But here's the result that I ran earlier, right? I ran this a few weeks ago. And this is basically back testing that same strategy, right? The mean reversion strategy. This was from the beginning of 2021 all the way until April 2022. So about a year and a half, right? I was in April when I back tested this. So that's why it's April. We could update this if you guys want, but I'm sure we'd still have the same results. You can tell here the blue doing a heck of a lot better than the yellow, right? The yellow is Bitcoin, right? The blue is our strategy. Also only Bitcoin, by the way, right? Just we're trading it smarter, right? When things shoot up a lot, we sell. When things drop down a lot, we buy. So what that ends up doing is it ends up making us quite a bit more money in the long run and also taking on a lot less risk, right? So here you can see that we would have made 124% investing on our strategy versus only 35% investing in Bitcoin. A heck of a lot more money. Was that almost 4 times the return? Significantly better returns. So remember, compounding makes this so you will end up making a lot of money. If this is consistent year over year, you'll make a ton of money doing something like this. Our Sharpe ratio is a heck of a lot better than Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a 0.58 Sharpe ratio. We have a 1.14, more than double. Great. So far everything's looking very good, or pretty much exactly double, actually. Our max drawdown, you could tell Bitcoin was 53% from this max peak down to here, whereas our biggest drawdown was probably this here, 30%, right? So a heck of a lot less of a drawdown than just investing in Bitcoin, and also much lower volatility, 47% versus 64%. So all this is to say we're making a lot better returns, and we are taking on much less risk investing in this strategy. You can even just eyeball it. I mean, like, look, the blue line basically is just going straight up, right? It's not really deviating from that. It's just a straight line up pretty much, right? Whereas yellow is doing these crazy up and down movements, right? Okay, so definitely quite a bit better. And then you can look through all the other metrics here. Volatility matched, we're also outperforming, right? We can look at all the different indicators that we have here, or different ratios and everything. And this is quite a well-performing strategy over this time period, right? So best month, we would have made 25% in March of 2022. We would have made 25% in October of 2021. So definitely quite a good strategy, right? I have a question here from Sebastian. Can we create option strategies like straddle, strangle, butterfly, etc.? Yes, absolutely. You can do that using our technology. Absolutely. We actually have an entire class on how to build algorithms for options, right? So we have this class called how to build options. I forget what it's called exactly. You can find it on our website. Actually, let me send this to you so you can see this here. This is taught by Neil, one of our instructors. That isn't with us anymore. He got a job at a really prominent hedge fund, so good for him. But they put the golden handcuffs on him. But he taught this course back in the day. You can get the recordings, and then we also give you support. If you need help with this, I can also help you out on how to do this stuff. But absolutely, you can build algorithms for options. I actually think it's a really great thing to do. We do consulting work on top of just teaching people, right? So we teach people how to do this stuff, but we also will build algorithms for people. And the algorithms that we built around options, they perform very well. I think options are a great thing to trade using algorithms, just because they're really hard to set up and find data for. And if you're doing this stuff manually, you have to have a spreadsheet and calculate all these things. It's just a lot easier to do it using an algorithm. Yeah, no problem, Sebastian. So check out our course, right? Check out the options trading course. This one is a little bit more advanced. If you want to take the options trading course, I'd recommend that you either have some programming experience, or if you don't have programming experience, take our algorithmic trading class first or our crypto trading class first. We'll teach you the basics of how to do all this stuff so that when you jump into trading options, it'll be a lot easier for you then, because as you can imagine, it is quite a bit more complicated trading options as just the nature of it, right? So I'd recommend that you take the two classes together unless you have some programming experience under your belt already, right? And Andy, yeah, golden handcuffs. That's exactly right. We used to employ him pretty much full time, and he turned around and said to me, he's like, the amount of money that these guys are offering me is like, there's no way I could turn it down. And he wouldn't tell me the exact amount, but I'm willing to bet it was like double what we were paying him. So it's like definitely quite a large sum of money that the hedge funds will pay out. But the problem is that a lot of these hedge funds, you get a job there, they'll pay you very, very well. I know some friends that work at hedge funds make $500,000 a year or more, right? And that's, to be honest with you, not even that long in the industry. There's some people make a hell of a lot more than that, in the millions. I have some people that I know in New York that make money like that at hedge funds. But the problem is that when you work at a hedge fund like that, you can't do anything else. Like they will sue you into oblivion if you try to do anything other than the hedge fund. I mean, it's like, you're not allowed to do any side hustles. You're not allowed to do anything. It's like your soul belongs to the hedge fund. But they do pay extremely well. So that's why we say golden handcuffs, right? You are handcuffed to the company, but at least they're nice handcuffs. You're getting paid very well going through it. Right? Cool. Okay. Yeah, WoW is right, Andy. Absolutely. There's people that make a lot of money in this space. This is a very well paid profession. Cool. Okay, so we've talked about those first two strategies. Now let me show you another strategy. This one is kind of a little bit more for demo purposes, just to kind of show you some of our tech. So let me find where this thing is here. The momentum. This is it. I just want to make sure. Yep. Okay, we're good. And I want to make sure that we are not live. This code I haven't ran for a while, so I was trying to see. There we go. Run. Restaurant live. Okay. So I'm going to run this momentum strategy here. And this is not really a strategy that I would normally use to trade, but I want to show you just because I want to demo some of our technology and see kind of what you can do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run a momentum strategy, right? This is a very simple strategy. Basically, all it does is look back the past X number of days, either 50, 70, 90, or 110. It's looking back 50 days or 70 days or whatever. and it's picking from 3 different assets, right? So we have, where is this? Actually, I think it's just doing the momentum on Bitcoin, actually, right? And this is showing up on the wrong screen. Bring this onto the screen here. So this is basically testing this algorithm for different inputs, right? So this is, for example, doing momentum of 50 for Bitcoin, right? So you can tell when we did a momentum of 50, it's not beating Bitcoin. Bitcoin does better than us when we do a 50 momentum, right? Yeah. But I've set this up here, not much better, but a little bit better than us, right? So what I've set up here is I've set up for us to automatically test different time periods, right? And when you build your algorithms, you'll be able to do this sort of thing too, right? So basically what this is let's say you have some trading strategy that's working out for you, something that's making some money, and you don't know what the optimal thing is to do, right? In this case, we're doing momentum. Is it better to do 50 days momentum or 70 days momentum or 90 days or 110 days? Well, what we could do is we have the data. We could actually test that, right? We could see what is the most optimal way for us to be using this strategy, right? You can see here, this is momentum 70 just popped up. 70 seems like a much better number, right? We have a pretty damn good Sharpe ratio, 1.5. We're beating Bitcoin, not by a huge amount, but we are beating it. And our max drawdown is quite a bit lower. And our volatility is quite a bit lower than Bitcoin as well. So you can see 70 actually works out pretty well, right? If we run 90, you see that we're not beating Bitcoin anymore, right? Bitcoin is slightly beating us in terms of absolute returns, although we are getting a much better risk profile, right? So if you don't care so much about making some crazy, stupid high returns, you care more that you don't lose your house, this might be a good strategy to invest in, right? It will prevent you from having any massive losses because it basically exits the market whenever we go into these sharp downturns, right? So that's kind of what this strategy is doing. It's only investing in Bitcoin when it's on the way up. When it's on the way down, it exits, right? And then that was for 70 days. Now this is for 110 days, right? So we're able to test all these different days, right? And then we could actually even graph it out. And we could see here which one was the best. So momentum 50 gave us a return of, this is our CAGR, a return of 0.9. So it actually doesn't seem right. This one actually seemed to lose us money, the 50, right? The 70 made us 22%. This one made us 9%. And then the 110 made us, what seems like they're losing, possibly. Either way, we're able to see here that our best bet was the 70-day momentum. So that basically tells us this is the optimal way for us to be trading this, right? So you could do this with any of your strategies, right? Let's say you've got a lot of these different strategies that you're trading, different indicators, whatever. Instead of guessing at it, instead of reading some news article and they're telling you to invest in this or this way, you could actually test those inputs. You could see, is this actually a good thing to do? And what's better in terms of momentum or other types of parameters. You could test all those and see which one is going to give you the best result. Using data is really, really good. It's going to help you out a lot with your investing. And Raj asks, how much Python proficiency level needed to reap maximum benefits of this course? Should a person be very well versed in the language itself, or good enough is good enough? Python 2 or Python 3? So a lot of people join the course that don't have any Python programming experience at all. So you are not required to know coding at all to join the course, right? That being said, if you know some Python, that's going to be helpful, right? You're going to be able to move faster through it, right? So for example, this course starts in October, in about a month. If you don't have any programming experience at all, what I would suggest is that you buy the course now and start practicing a little bit of Python, because then you'll be able to move through the course much faster, right? But that being said, you don't have to know this stuff. We will teach you the basics of this while you're going through it, right? We're not going to handhold you like crazy, right? We're going to give you a lot of tools to help out with this, right? And that's to be respectful to the people that do know how to code. So we kind of do a little bit in between, but we do provide you with a lot of resources. Even if you don't know how to code, we can get you to that point. And again, you don't have to be this incredible programmer. to be able to build algorithms. Building algos is not the super complicated Python thing to do. What it is you're going to have to be able to mix finance and programming together. So knowing how to find those algorithms, knowing how to do the research, having some patience, that's all very valuable. You don't need to be the stellar programmer to do this stuff. It's not that complicated unless you're doing some very complicated stuff, right? Like there are things that are complicated that you can build, but that is not the typical algorithm, right? So you don't need to be that good of a programmer, right? And we use Python 3, not Python 2, right? Python 2 in my eyes is pretty much a dead project at this point. I don't know anyone that uses Python 2 anymore. What's the best resource would you recommend to start learning Python? I think Code Academy is pretty good to get started, right? Code Academy. Right, these guys are really good. Right, they cost a little bit of money, but they're pretty cheap. It's like $40 a month or something to learn Python 3. I think that's a good one. We also have some stuff on our website. If you go to lumiwealth.com and if you sign up with us, we do have a free course on there called I'm not gonna log in now, but if you log in, you look at like enrolled courses, everyone that signs up gets access to a course called Winning at Python, which is free to everyone that signs up. So you could go through some of our courses there as well, right? And then if you take our full course, then we have all of our past recordings, all of our courses that you can take there too. Those are some very good resources to learn that. But I wouldn't be too concerned about getting that good with Python before you start this. I know some people that went off and tried to learn Python and they basically just, didn't really go into, like, you don't need to be that good, right? Like you don't need to be like a stellar programmer to be able to do this stuff. We really hold your hand a lot through building these types of algorithms. So Andy asked, do you have us do projects and how many in the course? I'll get to that in a bit. But yes, you're for the first few days, we have homework on the first few days, and we could talk about the different types of homework that you do there. And then there's basically two projects they do throughout the entire class where you're building your own bot and you're presenting to the class on a regular basis, right? So there's two projects and there's a bunch of homework assignments they have as well. Right? Yeah, so Andy, courses that have us do actual projects are the best. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Being able to do like hands-on stuff is really important, which is why we do projects in ours as well. It's definitely a project-based course. Yeah, no problem. Cool. Okay, awesome. So that's our momentum strategy. That was showing you kind of some of the capabilities of things that you can do. I'll show you one more strategy before we jump into the next phase of this presentation. I'm going to show you our social media trading strategy, right? And I haven't read this for a while, so I'm going to see what's going on here. Let's see, where is this? Reddit. Okay, so what this strategy does, okay, and I'm going to run this so that we start getting the results because it takes a little bit of time to download. But basically what this strategy does is it goes to Reddit, right? And you could very easily change this to be something other than Reddit, right? It doesn't have to be Reddit. It could be Twitter. It could be your favorite news source, Reuters, Bloomberg, CNN, Fox News, whatever, right? Listen into the news, listen into social media, and automatically have this program read what's inside that social media and make decisions based off of that. So it's using something, this is not actual AI, but a technique similar to artificial intelligence to actually make these trading decisions. So for example, this bot right now is going to be going to this channel, cryptocurrency, right? This is it's called a subreddit, right? A subreddit within Reddit called R Cryptocurrency, where people talk about cryptocurrencies, right? So the people talking about all the different things they want to invest in, right? Should hold their breath as the risk in Ethereum merge, right? All these different things, and basically we'll read through all the comments, right, and see what they're talking about, right? Are they talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana? We have a bunch here they put in. These are 5 that we're monitoring for: Maker, Litecoin, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, right? Whenever one of those gets mentioned, we will read it, right? So for example, Let's see if I can find one in here. A lot of very colorful language in here. But this can actually be quite predictive, by the way. I don't know if you guys are aware, but a lot of the run-ups in GameStop, AMC, and Bed Bath & Beyond, they all kind of started from Reddit, right? These are the guys that basically pumped up those stocks and made them shoot up a couple 100% or a couple 1,000%, depending on what we're talking about. And, if you were at the forefront of that, if you're reading Reddit before that stuff happened, you could have made a lot of money, right? Because you would have seen this thing ticking up in terms of the stock price. You would have seen the activity on Reddit, and you would have been able to make that play much earlier than anyone else, right? And you could have been in and out, made a ton of money before anyone even knew what was happening, right? So it's really valuable being able to read these types of things, right? Some other examples of doing this type of reading, and let's see if, so for example, here, had me convinced to hold BTC until 100,000, which gave me confidence to buy. The worst thing about him, in my opinion, he tries to speak authority, influence dupes, like I always make stupid plays, right? Okay, so this seems kind of like a negative thing around Bitcoin, right? Slightly negative. So we would count this as like a slightly negative thing towards Bitcoin, because he mentioned it there, right? And then we could like read about these other things that we'll talk about. If they mention Ethereum, if they say something like, I love Ethereum, Ethereum's the best, it's going through the moon, right? Then that's a very positive thing for Ethereum. And we're constantly looking for all these different mentions of all these different coins throughout all of Reddit in this specific channel and this specific subreddit, right? So here, I ran this. Let's see, I haven't ran this code for some time, so there may be some strange thing that I did with it that I don't remember. I cannot import name, alpaca config paper. Oh, that's why. Alpaca config was paper. A little change I made earlier today. So I'll rerun this. So this bot is going to be reading through all those comments and basically figuring out what is the most hot trending thing right now. Is everyone talking about Bitcoin right now? And how positive is it, right? Ethereum, how positive is it, and all that kind of stuff. And based off of what everyone's talking about, we're going to build a portfolio and we're going to invest in that based on that sort of thing, right? So using Reddit is one thing. You could also change this to go after Twitter, for example. So let's say you're following Twitter. If you follow Elon Musk, every time he tweets about stuff, they shoot through the roof, right? He's one of the richest people on earth. He has 100 million followers. Even if he's wrong, right? Even if he's pumping something that is completely stupid, it doesn't matter because 100 million people get that message and they'll probably buy it anyways, right? So for example, when he was talking about Dogecoin, I personally think Dogecoin is kind of silly, right? I don't really get it, but he was talking about it and it shoots through the freaking roof, right? This thing goes up 10,000% because Elon Musk is talking about it, right? That's the kind of thing that you want to be in early stage. If you were listening to his Twitter account, you could have been one of the first people in there. You could have made that 1,000% return or more off that Dogecoin, right? Same thing goes for Trump when he tweeted about Truth Social back in the day. That stock price went up by 250% in like 24 hours, right? Or any other influencer, right? Think about even the Kim Kardashians of the world. You know, they post about something, stock prices are going to go up too, right? So all this is to say, having bots that are able to read text and interpret what is happening inside this text is extremely valuable, right? So here, it actually bought for us. Okay? It made this thing here. This is all our calculations. So this is called a dictionary instead of Python, right? But for you to read it, basically it says Bitcoin, right? The average score for Bitcoin was 0.06, so slightly positive. Anything above 0 is positive. Anything below 0 is negative. The reason why I had that score is because of all these scores in here: 0, 0, 0, 0.66, 0, 0, 0, 0.44, 0.49. It takes all those and gets the average of all of them, and that's this score here, 0.66 for Bitcoin. Ethereum has an average score of 0.067, so slightly better than Bitcoin right now. People tend to be saying positive things about it. Solana has a 0.64. They're all kind of similar today, which is unusual. It doesn't usually happen, right? Solana's kind of got a similar one. And then Litecoin has an average of 0.89. It's pretty high, but we only got one score, so we're going to ignore that because we don't have enough. Here we have 3. Surprisingly, they're all very similar today. This doesn't normally happen, by the way. So based off of these scores, we're actually going to build a portfolio for us. We take the average of all these, right? So Bitcoin had the lowest, so it has a 32% weighting inside of our portfolio. Ethereum was the highest, so it has a 34% weighting in our portfolio. And Solana was somewhere in the middle, so it has a 32.91% weighting in our portfolio. Automatically put that together, and it actually made a purchase. You could even see here, if I go to my broker, right, here's Alpaca, the broker, you'll see that it automatically bought these stocks, or I should say cryptos. Didn't buy Litecoin for some reason. I'd like to know why. Or didn't buy Solana, right? Probably because it didn't have enough people talk about it, right? But in either case, you see that automatically bought these symbols for us, automatically invested in for us based off of these percentages that I got from Reddit, right? So Andy asks, so why are they usually not all similar? That's just how it is. Usually people like one coin more than the other. Today it just happened to be that they're all pretty much the same. Usually what you'll see is like, maybe Ethereum is like the thing that everyone's talking about today, and then Bitcoin is maybe not doing as well. Here we just happen to be all equal, which is unusual, but that's just what it is. So we're using this algorithm to automatically go based off of the sentiment that people are talking about, right? You can do this with a lot more coins. You can do this on different social medias. You can be paying attention to basically influencers that are tweeting about things or messaging about things. For example, Elon Musk. We could also be listening to like messaging channels. You could like listen to Telegram or Discord. If people are talking about something inside their channels, we can automatically trade off of that. So if you're inside of like some trading channels, so I'll mention something, I think this is a great stock, you can automatically go out and buy it, right? Social trends like Wall Street Bets or Reddit, you can do that. You can trade off of the news as well. So let's say some news came out about Bitcoin recently, something got approved by the government or whatever, right? You could be the first one to trade that, right? We'll be constantly reading the news and investing in that. So a lot of really powerful things you could do with this type of tech that's reading text and trading off of that, right? Okay, cool. So there's another one here. So Raj asks, does it use NLP and or sentiment analysis to go through scrub Reddits to deduce such conclusions? Yes, that's exactly what it's doing. It's using natural language processing. Specifically, we're using the NLTK Python library, the natural language toolkit Python library to do this analysis for us, right? We could do a lot of other things too, right? This sentiment analysis, you could do even more than this. There's a lot of really cool things. I'll tell you, some of our students in the past have made a crazy amount of money doing this stuff. I've heard of a lot of people making quite a bit of money doing this. One of our past students one time told me is making 400% or 500% a year doing this sort of thing. Basically, just paying attention to influencers when they tweet about a stock, buy it, hold it for an hour, and then sell it, right? Because you see a pop, right? Whenever someone with 1 million followers or more tweets about something, you tend to see price movements, right? So he basically has a bot that does all that all day, and he's making this crazy amount of money. Like I said, last time I heard he was making like 400% a year, which is pretty damn good. Right. So anyway, so that's the last kind of bot that I'm going to show you. But there's a lot more, right? I've shown you a couple here, like rebalancing, smart rebalancing. I've showed you basically technical analysis type bots. I've showed you social media bots. We also have artificial intelligence. We show you how to use machine learning. There's a bunch of other different types of bots they can build. If you follow us on YouTube or on Instagram, I actually did a piece on this recently. The 4 different kinds, right? The machine learning, trading off the news, technical analysis, and like smart rebalancing. Those are all really good types of algorithms to build and can be quite profitable, each one of them. Cool. So I showed you those 4. There's a lot more they could do. Like I said, you could do other different types of technical analysis, right? You can do some really complex types of stuff using our technology, right? It's not just simple, looking at this indicator, that indicator, but you can do things using machine learning. You can use a lot of different technical analysis libraries, plug into a bunch of different things. There's a lot of really cool stuff they can do. We use pandas natively within our code, so it allows you to really get a lot of control over what you're doing and build some really cool stuff. All right. You can also do a lot of other cool stuff. You can hook up to some pretty cool websites out there that will give you some insights. For example, Lunar Crush. This one is a website that's basically telling you the sentiments of like every coin out there and will help you figure out what to invest in, even like small obscure coins. It says this is a rising star. You might want to invest in this. You could also plug into things like Token Sniffer, right, which is a really interesting website that what it does is it checks to see what coins just came out. So for example, you say some new coins that just came out here. Basic Boy is a new coin, and it analyzes it. What's the smell test, right? Is this something that's legit or not? So they do like a bunch of tests for this, right? They check for swap, right? Buy fee is less than whatever percent, sell fee is less than 5%. Is there enough liquidity? Is there enough current liquidity? How much of it has been burned or locked in the 15 days, right? How much does the owner, how much does the creator own of this thing, right? So all these things they check, does it pass the smell test, right? Is this a coin that's about to steal all your money or not, right? So using something like Token Sniffer can help you find, new coins that could potentially do very well. If it passes this test, chances are it's not going to be a complete scam, right? It's still possible, but it's much less likely if it passes these tests, right? And then we could pair that up with, looking at sentiment analysis and looking at technicals, and you could pair all those things together to make some pretty powerful trading algorithms, right? So you can connect to a lot of other services and use them to trade as well, right? So definitely some very cool stuff that you can build, right? So those are some of our algorithms, some of the things that we can do. I could show you a lot more, but I don't want to keep you guys here forever. We're already an hour and a half into this, but hopefully it gives you a good example of some of the things that we can build, right? There's a lot more of them that you get in the class. When you take the full class, you actually get access to our code library of all the code that we've ever made for crypto. You get access to that for lifetime, right? And you get to use all these algorithms right out of the box if you want to. You can also learn how to tweak them, and you get a heck of a lot more than what I just showed you. You get all the ones I showed you here plus more, right? So here's our course, right? And let me take this course and I'll put it into the chat so you guys can follow along if you want. But this is a course. We have a bunch of courses on these types of topics. You heard me mention throughout this class already. We have our crypto trading class. We also have a class called algorithmic trading, which teaches you how to do the same thing, but with stocks. We also have machine learning, which teaches you how to do artificial intelligence on top of these things. We have our options trading class, which teaches you how to build algorithms for options. And we also have a trading as a business class that teaches you how to invest in general. It's taught by someone with over 30 years of experience trading, and he manages over $50 million. So he's a really good person to learn from to make yourself some money as well, right? He's made a lot of people very rich, and he's a good person to learn from. But right now we're talking about the crypto trading class. And this class, as it sounds, focuses on how to make algorithms that trade crypto, right? So our focus is going to be trading through Coinbase or KuCoin or Binance or Alpaca or whatever other broker you're interested in, right? We'll teach you how to build algorithms that automatically will buy and sell Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or whatever else very profitably, right? Or hopefully very profitably. So we spoke about this a little bit already, but why do we want to use algorithms to trade crypto? Here's a few different reasons, right? We've already spoke about those. If you want to read about our learning outcomes, you can do so here too. But what I want to talk about is our course curriculum, right? So our course is divided up into 3 parts. It is an 8-week-long class, this crypto trading class. Part 1 is getting to know all the fundamentals, right? So again, even if you don't know how to code, so question here, Christian says, do those work on KuCoin? Yes, they do. KuCoin is actually one of the main brokerages that we work with. I'm a big fan of KuCoin. I like them a lot. And a lot of our clients use them too. So if you want to use KuCoin, we can absolutely work with them. Right out of the box, lots of our clients use them. I think they're great, personally. Good question. Thank you. Okay, so part 1 is the first 3 weeks is all about getting you to have the fundamentals, right? So week 1, we're going to set up your computer, make sure you have everything installed that you need. We'll introduce you to other people in the class. So a lot of people end up building things together in the class. So it's great to have these introductions. A lot of people work together. Week 2, we'll go over Python. We'll go through, pretty much the whole Python language in one night. So it's going to be a pretty heavy lecture, but you'll learn a lot throughout that. And again, if you're more advanced, we don't spend too much time on this. It's really just the one day. So you don't have to feel like you're learning the beginnings again. But if you don't know how to code, we do go over how to code in Python in week 2. Week 3, we go into more intermediate Python, and then we also set up Lumiwealth on your computer and get you started placing some trades, right? Kind of depending on what type of class this is. Within week 3, you will probably be placing trades using algorithms already in week 3. Okay, so we try to get you there very quickly. There's a question here. Raj says, do we work with Femex? I haven't not even heard of them, to be honest with you. I'm assuming that's a crypto broker. I've never heard of them before. If you do want to add a broker in, crypto brokerages are fairly easy to add in. So we could potentially add that in if that makes sense, right? So I haven't heard of Femex. I'm assuming it's a crypto broker. If it is, it's probably something that we can add in pretty easily. It's not hard for us to add in crypto brokerages to the platform. Okay, cool. So back to the curriculum. So part 1, we talked about the fundamentals, right? Part 2 is, we're really getting into the crypto bot stuff here, right? So week 4, we're going to make sure that everything is set up on your computer and you're able to place trades. We're going to talk about how to install a library, how to set up your brokerage, how to start trading with KuCoin, how to trade with Alpaca. We'll show you how to set up all those brokerages, right? And we'll make sure that we have everyone in the class by this point is going to be having a trading algorithm that works and is trading on their computer. We actually even have a guarantee, by the way, down here. If you can't build a bot, then we'll give you all your money back plus $400, right? That's my guarantee to you guys. I'm very confident that you'll be able to build out algorithms. I've never had a student gone through our classes that has not been able to build an algorithm and start trading. This includes people that can barely use computers. I remember some of our students that came in and did not even know how to search their file folders, had no idea what folders were on their computer, and we were able to get them to build bots. So if I could get them to build bots, believe me, I can get you to build bots and place trades. So I guarantee you that you're going to come through this class being able to do that. And most likely, you'll be doing that by week 4, right? So week 4, we'll make sure you're all set up and it's placing trades. Week 5, we'll teach you about how to backtest a strategy, right? So what I showed you there earlier, which was, simulated trading, what would this algorithm have done if we had invested over the past, 2 years, right? The mean reversion strategy did very well, right? So we can go and test these algorithms and we can learn how to do this sort of thing for all of our algorithms. We'll teach you how to do that here, the back testing, how to get data, how to back test it, how to improve things over time, right? And then part 3, we're going to go over a lot of different examples, right? So once you've got all those basics down, now we're going to show you algorithm after algorithm after algorithm, and we're going to show you how each one works and how you can modify and make it into your own, right? So we're going to show you tactical analysis trading bots. We're going to show you how to build a crypto ETF or a rebalancing type bot, like what I showed you, that custom ETF thing. We'll teach you how to connect to different APIs and how to get information from APIs. We'll show you how to make a social media trading bot. We have one that connects to Discord. We have another one that connects to Reddit. And we could even have the discussion or even do it during the class, connect to Twitter and actually interact with Twitter as well, or any other social platform that you want. And then in week 8, we're going to cover machine learning, which is basically artificial intelligence for trading, right? So how do we use AI to trade for us? It can be very profitable doing this sort of stuff, right? Cool. So Raj says, so Femex is for trading BTC spots and futures. Yeah, so if you take a look at KuCoin, Raj, they actually have the same sort of thing. You could trade on margin or you could trade futures as well through them, right? So that is possible with KuCoin. And they're very friendly to US as well because they don't do any KYC. So it's a lot easier for you to actually sign up with them. So they have a lot of coins. They have the futures trading, they have the margin trading, so they can do all that kind of stuff. KuCoin can. Femex, I'm not familiar with, right? But if you really want to do that, we could probably add in that broker. It's not something very difficult for us to do. And then Andy asks, do you personally teach this class or someone else on your team? Do others on your team teach different sections? So I personally teach this class. I teach this class and I teach the algorithmic trading class. Those both are me teaching them. The machine learning class is taught by Greg. Very, very smart guy. He's a Stanford and Berkeley and Caltech grad. Named the 3 best schools in the world. He went to all of them. He got funded $10 million by Andreessen Horowitz and Google Ventures, which are some of the best VCs in the world. So very, very smart guy. He's been making these types of algorithms for people over the years. Reportedly, he's making like 50% on average for his clients, building machine learning bots. So that's the guy that teaches our machine learning class. Our options class is taught by Neil, who again isn't with us anymore, but we still have the recordings that you can go through. And if you need help with that class, I'd be your man. So you can book calls with me and we can help you build out those options trading bots if that's what you want to do. Our trading as a business class is taught by Guy Porter, which, as I mentioned, he manages over $50 million. He's been in this game for over 30 years managing people's money. And then our blockchain classes are taught by Alexandra, who is an incredible blockchain dev and really good person overall and really easy to learn from. She's very, very good with people and able to show you how to do some really cool stuff with Solidity and blockchain programming. So yeah, so those are different instructors, but I teach this class and I teach the algorithmic trading class. All right. So great question. Thank you. Okay. So that's a curriculum, right? 8 weeks. Okay. So now there's different ways they could take this class, right? There are 3 different ways. There's a self-directed, there's a live classes, and there's a project help and tutoring. These are all 3 different plans they can use to take this class. Okay. So the self-directed plan is the most basic, right? You're going to get access to the recordings of the videos, right? And you're going to get access to our code library. So you're going to get the recordings. You're going to get access to our code library. So any of these strategies you'll be able to use, copy them, do whatever you want to do with them, right? You're going to get access to our community. So as I mentioned, Discord, we have a bunch of private channels in here, like our discussion hour, for example. You could join all those private aspects of our community. You also get one-on-one support. So if you need help, you can book a call with me through Zoom, right? And we can go over anything that you need, or you can contact me through Discord and you'll get all that support through there as well, right? So that's our self-directed plan. Those are basically pre-recorded classes and you watch the videos, right? Okay. One of our most popular plans, though, is our live class. Although more and more people are getting our project help and tutoring plan lately, this is quickly becoming our most popular. But still our most popular right now is our live class plan, which as is implied in the name is live classes, right? So whereas the self-directed is you're watching pre-recorded videos, the live classes, you're joining in classes live, right? So it's kind of like this, but over Zoom. You could turn on your microphone, you can share your screen, and it's a very interactive way of learning, right? So let's say you're going through the class and you're listening in, it's live. So you're like, it's amazing how much better people tend to do with these live classes. It kind of, it paces people, forces people to show up and do their homework and do that sort of thing. So it kind of forces you to do that sort of thing. But then also because it's the live nature, you can actually interact and learn a lot more. So when you're in these classes, let's say I'm going through and I'm teaching you how to, how to set up this bot on your computer, right? If you're just watching the pre-recorded lectures with us or anyone else, if you get stuck, you might have to message me or get on a call and I'll still be able to help you with that. But if you're doing this during class, you're able to save yourself a lot of that headache and you're able to get things done much more quickly and much more easily, right? So this live class is really helpful. If you're stuck somewhere, if your computer isn't working properly, you can share your screen. If you don't understand something I'm saying, you could ask me, right? You could just turn on your microphone and just ask, what do you mean by that, right? So it's like this really interactive kind of class. It's much more like a real class when you take something in person, right? It's interactive. You could ask questions, all that sort of stuff, right? So that's the difference between self-directed and the live. And then the live class also has everything the self-directed has, right? You still get access to all the recordings. You still get all the code. You still get part of the community, but then on top of that, you also have the live classes that you get to be a part of, right? And by the way, our live classes are designed as such that if you want to retake it ever, right? So let's say one of my students in a recent class, he is moving, right? He had to sell his house. He's moving into a new house. I mean, it's a little hard to attend class and get the most out of it when you're in the middle of moving, buying a house, selling a house. It's a lot of work, right? So for him, he's able to move on to the next class, and we just switch them to the next cohort. So instead, he's going to be starting with us in October, right? Same thing with you, right? If you take this class, if you find that you want to retake it for whatever reason, no questions asked. You could retake it as many times as you want, right? Whether it's in a year from now, you want to see the new technology that we have. Things keep getting better every year. You might want to see a new technology in a year. Or let's say maybe you got a new job. Maybe you started studying this stuff. Your boss has caught on. They love what you're doing, and they give you a promotion, right? Or maybe you got a job somewhere else because you put on your resume or looking for jobs or whatever. You could retake this class as many times as you want until you're satisfied with the results. Right? Okay, so that's live classes versus self-directed. Then we also have a project help and tutoring plan, which again, they all stack on top of each other. So everything that was in the self-directed was in the live classes, plus you get the live classes. You also get a little bit more support. But then the project help tutoring takes that and adds on even more, right? And specifically, you'll get a lot of one-on-one help. So as much help as you really need, right? We say 10 hours, but I'll spend as much time with you as necessary to make sure that you get the results that you want, build the algorithms that you want. And then we also will give you 10 hours of software engineer time. We have software developers on our team, and we can get them to actually build stuff for you. So let's say you have a specific project in mind. Maybe you're a little bit newer to coding. So what I recommend is you take the project help tutoring plan. We can teach you how to do this stuff. You'll learn how to do it. And then we'll also get our software development team to maybe build the first version of your bot, and then you can actually modify it from there. Or maybe you're building out this bot and you need a little bit of help on like one spot, you're a little stuck. This project help tutoring plan can help you out with that. You'll have some very highly capable software engineers helping you out. All right. Okay. So those are the 3 plans. These are the prices for those plans, right? So our self-directed is $17.58. That can be in either 3 or 5 month payment plans. You pay it all up front if you want, or you can do a 3 or 5 month payment plan, right? And again, that gives you lifetime access to our video library, lifetime access to all of our code, lifetime access. That means when we create new videos, that means when we add new code, you're still going to be getting that, all the improvements and new algorithms as they come out. You're going to get access to our Lumiwealth community, all the closed off parts. You're going to get a lot of instructor support through the community, through Discord, and you're going to be able to join our discussion hour weekly talks, which is, I think, by itself quite valuable. I think that alone would be worth a couple $100 a month, that discussion hour. So you get a lot of really good insights from there. So that's our self-directed plan. Our live classes, which again has all of that, plus you get 8 weeks of live classes. It's about 2 hours per week. You get dedicated live Q&A, so you can spend a ton of time with me on Zoom if you need help with anything. You get access to all the future videos and code. You get to join in on new classes if you want as well. If you want to join in a year from now, you can do that. You get help with 2 personal projects. There's 2 projects throughout all of this, but you get more help with that in the live classes. You get to present in the live classes. There's presentations. You get feedback. It's really cool, actually, the way that works. You get to know your other classmates. You get resume help and interview prep help if you need that, if you're looking for a job. And then also a limited chat and email Q&A in these live classes. All right, so these are about $4K, and there's 3 and 5 month payment plans available as well. Okay. Then we have the project help and tutoring plan. This is our most premium plan, has everything from those other 2 ones. Plus, you get our software engineers to help you out if you need some help actually coding. Plus, you get a lot of one-on-one time. We say 10 hours of one-on-one tutoring, but we can actually spend a lot more with you than that. There's a lot of students. If you need help, I'm not going to be picky about it. I'd much rather you be a happy customer and you build some cool stuff. That to me is much more valuable than in a half an hour of my time. I'd rather spend that to make sure you guys are successful personally. So we say 10 hours, but really it can be a lot more than that. And then again, you get the software engineers to help you out with that as well. This is $5,800. And again, it could be a 3 or 5 month payment plan if you need to. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep going down here. Again, there's that guarantee. If you can't build a bot going through this, assuming you actually show up to class, right? Like, if you show up to class and you're actually like doing the work, I'll guarantee you that you'll have a bot built. If you can't get a bot built, which I've personally never seen happen, by the way, I've always seen people be able to build things, even people that are completely computer illiterate. We've even taught like kids, to be honest with you. They're able to build this stuff. I guarantee you'll have a bot that's trading for you, placing trades, and actually executing all these things. If you can't get it done for some reason, even though you're showing up to class and putting in the effort, I've never seen it before, but if that does happen, we'll give you all your money back, plus I'll give you an extra $400 for your time, right? Because I know you'll be spending time going through the classes. If you really can't figure it out, I'll give you an extra $400 just for the hassle. But again, I've never seen that happen before. Hey, and our next live class, by the way, starting pretty soon, starting in about a month. So the class starts on October 12th. It's every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And registration closes on October 5th. All right, so that is in about a month, right? We did have a coupon code. This, I think, is actually, no, it's not expired yet. So if you want to save some money, by the way, 3 more days to save money, there's a 20% off coupon they can use. So when you go through a checkout, and I'll show you how to do this, this is that coupon code. Copy this, go through, right? You'll go into your cart, right? And then there's this coupon here. I can basically click on coupon code, paste it. When I apply a coupon, you'll see that I get the 20% off, right? There you go. It's an extra $800 that you're saving. So if you sign up within the next 3 days, you'll save that extra $800, right? And you can check out, and the rest of it is, pretty straightforward, typical checkout kind of thing. All right. So that's basically the class. Right. And I see there's a couple of questions here. So Andy asks, is it better to teach any of those other courses, you named first before taking this class? No, this is intended to be one of the beginner classes. So I think taking crypto is usually what we recommend taking first. We recommend one of 3 classes to take first, either the crypto trading class, the algorithmic trading class, or the trading as a business class. Any one of those 3, I think, would be a good starting point, right? Which includes this class. So if you want to get started, I think there's a very good class to get started with, right? That's a great question. Thank you for that. And then Andy says, is there a cap to how many you let in the live class? Yeah, we don't want to have our classes over 10 people, right? So we try to keep smaller class sizes, right? That way you get a lot of individualized attention. Right, we're not the type of class that we're going to have 100 people in there, and you're not going to get a word in. We typically have class sizes of like 5 to 10 people, right? So you're going to get a lot of attention, right? When you're going through this class, you're going to be going through this live. If you have any questions, you're first up to have that question answered, right? We're not going to have 100 people in there, and you're going to be fighting for time. That's not the type of class that we run. We tend to keep them small, and we do that on purpose because we want to make sure that our clients get the most out of these courses, right? I really like it when people come out. I mean, and look, not only would I like you to come up with a trading algorithm and for you to be successful, because I care about that as our customers. I want you to be successful. But if you also go through our class and you build some great algorithms, I would love to actually start selling your algorithms to other people, right? Like I said, we're building a platform where we're going to take all of our students' algorithms, we're going to put them up on a website so that people can invest in them. And if you're able to build these algorithms, you can put it up on our website, and you could actually make even more money from doing that, right? We're going to be charging something like $200 a month for this service. And if someone picks your algorithm, we could pay you an extra $50 a month for each person that uses your algorithm. You know what I mean? So you can be making quite a bit of money doing this sort of stuff, not only from the class itself, maybe some career stuff that you benefited from. You can make some money by actually trading your own cash and making that return yourself. But then also you could take your algorithm and sell it to others and make money doing that too. So a lot of opportunities to make money going through this course, right? And I'm definitely vested in that. I would love for you guys to come up with some great algorithms, because that makes our whole platform a lot better. So I'm definitely rooting for you to make some really cool stuff. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Awesome. Okay, cool. If you want to read up about me a little bit here, you could do that here too. I should probably put in my LinkedIn thing here, but you can search me on LinkedIn. I have a pretty unique name, so you can search me on there if you want to see my past work history and all that kind of stuff. We also have some testimonials here. You can listen to some of our past students. Agim was one of our earlier students. He's been building some really cool stuff lately. He's actually building a website. He's been charging people, I think, like $3,000 or $4,000 a month lately for his services. So, I mean, I think that's like turning into his job. I think he's going to quit his job soon and only do this stuff because he's making such good money doing these things. He basically does like, he builds like trading algorithms for other people, and he does trading like notifications for people, and he charges quite a bit for that. So he's been making good money. He's an interesting person to read up on. You know, you could watch the video of him and what he does. There's Renee that took a class a while back. Santayan, this is one of those guys that was making a lot of money with his trading algorithms. He's a very good coder. So, you know, definitely one of the more advanced people. But wow, oh boy, this guy's making a lot of cash. Every time I talk to him, he has some crazy return stories. So you could listen to the video with him there. And you could also listen to Joel. Joel's another really smart guy. Built some really cool stuff as well. If you want to listen to more testimonials, you could also do so on our YouTube channel. We have them all in there. Again, here there's Lumiwealth, and I might as well share this with you, our testimonials here. We have like a playlist of just testimonials. You watch these here. I think we're missing a few in here, but there's a couple of our testimonials if you want to listen to those. They're also on our website as well, right? You know, don't take my word for it. Listen to our past students. You know, we really push hard to make sure that everyone's happy. So, so that's what this is. Cool. And that's pretty much it, right? That's it for presentation. Do you guys have any questions for me before we finish this up? I know you guys have been asking questions throughout, so that's great. We covered a lot, but if you have any last burning questions, this is your opportunity. If you have any questions in the future, you could also email me. I'll put my email in here, rob@lumiwealth.com. Feel free to send me any questions that you have. I respond usually fairly quickly to my emails. Even faster my emails, though, I'll even respond to the Discord. So make sure you join us on Discord as well, right? So if you have any questions after this, you can go ahead and ask me there, right? But I hope you like the presentation. Really cool stuff. We're launching this platform very soon, so you'll be able to see a lot of our algorithms live, right? Like I'm launching a platform very soon where you'll be able to like literally look at them minute by minute and see exactly how they're doing. So, you know, don't just take my word for it. You could actually watch them, right? We'll have that up soon. And you'll be able to invest in them over time as well. Although we're gonna slowly roll that out. You know, hopefully these back tests and some of the results here I showed you speak for themselves as well. You know, I think it's really cool stuff. I mean, I'm a huge believer in this. I think this is the future of investing. I think computers are like, even right now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but 95% of the stock market is traded with robots, right? Like if you're the one person that's trading manually, like you're at a significant disadvantage, right? Because there's all these robots out there making money off you constantly, right? And I believe that's only going to keep getting more and more like that, right? These robots, these AI algorithms, they're much better ways to make money. They're faster, they're smarter in many ways. They have more data. They're less emotional. They don't sleep. You know what I mean? This is really the way to make money going forward, right? These hedge funds are kicking ass in this space. You know, and I'd like to get you to have that same experience as well, you know? So love it. I think it's very cool. I hope to see you guys in the class. All right. We're starting again in October, in about exactly a month from now. So I hope to see you guys there. And again, for the next 3 days, you have that 20% off coupon. So if you want to join, now's the time to do it. We'll save you an extra $800, right? So yeah, cool. I'm not seeing any questions come up here, so I'm assuming that you guys have asked them during the presentation. But if you do have more questions, you have my email address, you have my Discord, and shoot me your messages, whatever questions you have, whatever time of night. Don't worry about it. I'll respond whenever I'm ready. And yeah, again, hopefully I'll see you guys in the class. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Hope you have a good night.